Hello and welcome everyone to the Verizon Race League's broadcast of the Bass Pro Shop Series from Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course for the Rock and Roll Tequila 30. It'll be 12 laps at this long road course as they're about to get the command to fire engines, and we'll get the starting lineup and we'll get this race underway.
Drivers, start your engines!
Well, here's your starting lineup for the race. On the pole, we have the number 28 of Dylan Lupton, and next to him will be the 4 of Ross Chastain. Third place is David Starr, and fourth will be J.J. Yaley. Fifth place, Josh Bilicki, and sixth is Ryan Reed. Seventh place is Alex LeBay, and eighth, Christopher Bell. And then rounding out the top 10 is Vinnie Miller and Elliott Sadler. Then in row 6 we have Ray Black Jr. and Ryan Sieg. Row 7 is composed of Joey Logano and Stephen Leake. Stephen Leake, the Daytona winner, so he is already locked in the next round. 15th and 16th we have Joey Gase and Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott, one of the drivers I believe that is outside the top 35 in points, needs some good finish in this race if he has any hopes of advancing to the next round of this championship. 17th is Eric Almirola, 18th Austin Cindric, and then to round out the top 20 is Garrett Smithley and Kaz Gralla. 21st is Justin Allgaier, and 22nd Kyle Larson, who is the first driver in the next round so far, 35th in the points. Kyle Larson needing a good race after 2 disappointing finishes. Then we have Chad Fincham in 23rd, 24th is Austin Dillon. Tyler Reddick is in 25th, another driver on the cut line. Daniel Hemrick's alongside him in 26th. 27th is Josh Williams, and 28th Spencer Boyd. 29th is Ryan Truex, and then rounding out the top 30, Spencer Gallagher. 31st is Cole Custer, 32nd Jeremy Clemens. 33rd Daniel Suarez, 34th is Gray Galding. 35th is Ryan Ellis, 36th Matt Tift. 37th is Joe Nemechek, 38th Brandon Brown, and then the final 2 drivers in the field in row 20 are Brandon Jones and Michael Annette. They're getting set to go green at this, I believe about just over 2 mile road course. Many corners, and it's going to take a lot if these drivers are hoping to survive to the end to have a shot at the win. But as the pace car is getting ready to pull off, we'll have to see who's going to be able to get to the front, stay at the front, and ultimately get the win. The winner of this race will be locked into the next round of the playoffs, well, the next round of the championship here in the Bass Pro Shop Series. Pace car pulls in as they are getting ready to go green. Green flag is out for the 28 of Dylan Lupton in Mid-Ohio. Lupton drives it deep into turn 1. He'll come away with the big lead as the 4 and 39 are going to go off the track. A lot of drivers taking a venture off the raceway coming through turn 1 as now Ross Chastain trying to run down the number 28 of Dylan Lupton, as it looks like the high line through there may be a better groove to take. As now Ryan Reed going for 3rd place on last week's winner, J.J. Yaley, the 39. Still side by side as they head down into this next corner. Well, Yaley's going to try to get it back from him. Ryan Reed way off the racetrack. Ryan Reed ultimately going to come away with the position in a slide job maneuver. Don't usually see those at road courses. Most of the field is single file now as Dylan Lupton driving away from Ross Chastain, and then Ryan Reed has a pretty big gap back to the number 39 of J.J. Yaley. But coming across the lead lap 1 is Dylan Lupton. Remember, this is a short race, only 11 to go now for the number 28. You can see just how big of a lead he has on Ross Chastain and how spread out the field is until we get back to David Starr in 5th position, trying to hold off Christopher Bell, and I believe that's Elliott Sadler in the 1. Yes, it is. Through turn 2 and now down towards the kink, turn 3. Dylan Lupton continues to pull away from the 4 of Ross Chastain. We'll have to see if Chastain can run him back down. The 39 of J.J. Yeley has run Ryan Reed back down as he looks for that position, taking it off track a little bit. In the more high-speed areas, the field gets more spread apart, but once they get down into the technical corners in this end of the racetrack, they seem to get a little bit closer. I'll have to see if anything will come of that battle with the 16 and 39, but Ross Chastain continuing to try and close in on the 28 car. See, it looks like Chastain running a little bit lower of a line than Dylan Lupton is. Back to the stripe, just 10 more laps to go here in mid-Ohio. The 4 of Ross Chastain actually a faster lap by 0.2 of a second than Dylan Lupton, but then again, he just got off track and lost some momentum. Ryan Reed actually the fastest of the top 3 that time around. But still a long race remaining in terms of time. Not many laps to go though. And we could get a caution to bring this a lot closer, but Dylan Lupton got a great start to this race as Ross Chastain went wide in the first corner, and now Chastain's going to be playing catch up for most likely the entire race. So you see a bit of a flyby of the field now. Chastain continuing to try to close the gap as Ryan Reed's still right in that battle. Top 3 aren't separated by much. The gap continuing to close between all 3 of those, well, amongst those drivers. It's just getting smaller and smaller, but I believe that Ryan Reed will catch the 4 of Chastain before they catch the 28 of Dylan Lupton. Oh yeah, Ryan Reed, much faster lap than either of the 2 leaders. But Ross Chastain, almost a second slower than Dylan Lupton, but he still has a lot of time to make up the gap. And who knows, maybe Lupton's burning up his tires. They head down towards turn 3. Once again, you can see just how big the gap is between the top 2. But Ryan Reed is not far behind the 4, maybe even starting to snag a little bit of a draft down the long straightaway. They head back up the hill here through turn 5, now down to turn 6. We'll have to see this time by the line which of the front runners was the fastest. This track has a few long straightaways, and I would think that Ryan Reed would be gaining a draft down the longer straightaways here. Looks like he's getting closer, at least. As they go through the final complex of corners once again. 8 laps to go for Dylan Lupton, this time by the line. Ross Chastain a slightly slower lap. But Ryan Reed just 1/10 of a second faster than the top 2. But J.J. Yeley faster than the top 3, but the fastest of the top 5 was actually David Starr back in 5th place. A lot of these drivers running in the back here are actually running faster lap times than the leader is, but Josh Bilicki goes off track, and that will give the lead to Ryan Sieg in the 93. Lupton continuing to lead the field around, but the 39 has gotten right up to the back bumper of Ryan Reed. Maybe looking to make a pass here in the next few laps. these drivers, as big as this track is, they're still running out of time to catch the 28. But it looks like the top, second to fifth place are kind of coming together, and then Christopher Bell hanging on here in back of that group. But this time by the line, Dylan Lupton much faster than the rest of the top 5, except for David Starr, who still manages to run a lap time on par with the leader's time. Here comes Yaley still closing in on the back bumper of Ryan Reed. Can't quite get there though. For the last few laps, Ryan Reed was faster in the top 2, but not this time around. He was faster than Ross Chastain, but not by much. You could only think that maybe the 4 is holding up the 16. Seems like Ryan Reed keeps running wide. Maybe having a bit of aero push from being behind the 4 car. At least in the faster corners, that is. We're coming around for to have completed half of this race. Take a look here at the back of the field. There's no chance the leaders are going to catch lap traffic, but this part of the field is all bunched together, but there's not many side-by-side battles around this racetrack. Back to the line, Dylan Lupton, 29.4. Well, 25.4. Christopher Bell, the only driver of the top 6 to run a lap time on par with him. So it looks like Dylan Lupton might have locked this one up with such a good start to this race. The battle now becomes for second place as Ryan Reed continuing to run about 1/10 of a second faster than Ross Chastain. But just don't know if he can make the pass. He's gaining down this long straightaway. Let's go on board with the helmet cam from Ryan Reed. Just seems like his car is a little too tight going through some of those corners, especially going through turn 5. He seems to run wide there a lot. Again, the final 2 corners. 5 laps to go for Dylan Lupton, who is still setting blistering lap times. Oh, Ross Chastain still speeds up to keep on par with him. But Dylan Lupton's still the fastest of the top, like 7 drivers, I believe, that we saw. And is actually only 0.03 of a second off of his fastest lap of this race. Ryan Reed actually slower than Ross Chastain that time by. I believe that at this point, any hope of catching Dylan Lupton has gone out the window. And now it's just a battle for second here. Unless Ross Chastain has been saving something for the end of this race, which I doubt he has, seeming as how the gap is so big and the laps continue to wind down like this. I can only think that before just maybe not having a well-handling car, or at least as well-handling of a car as Dylan Lupton has. As Ryan Reed continues to try to catch the 4 car. But Dylan Lupton putting on a dominating performance here in Mid-Ohio. One that I believe will get him the win if he can hang on for just 4 more laps as they come back to the stripe. 25.4. Well, 0.2 of a second faster for Ross Chastain as well as Ryan Reed. Don't think 0.2 of a second will get it here though. Let's check the gap between the leaders right now. A 3-second gap between Dylan Lupton and Ross Chastain. So with just 4 to go, Chastain's going to really have to pick up the pace, but you know, if maybe Ryan Reed can get by him, Ryan Reed just can't seem to get by the 4 car, but he seems to be faster. We'll have to see if he can do that and maybe even run down the 28. You can see the gaps between the drivers out here pretty big, as we seem to have lost 2 drivers somewhere along the way. Brandon Jones and Michael Annette. These 2 drivers out of the race did not start even, so we'll have to check that after the race. Coming around for just 3 more laps to go for Dylan Lupton as he attempts to win this race and get a spot in the next round of the championship. It looks like all hope for the rest of the field is gone of catching up to that 28 car. But we'll have to see this time by the line. Oh, 25.77. Much faster lap by Dylan Lupton. J.J. Haley's still faster than the leader is. But it seems like whenever they get up behind somebody, they just can't quite make the pass and ends up hurting their lap time. Let's check near the back of the field. If we can find an on-track battle. There were Brandon Jones and Michael Annette. So we'll have to see who did not start the race. Looks like the number 35 of Joey Gase has some damage to his race car. Some altercation on track must have happened, or maybe that's why somebody didn't start the race. Maybe there was a crash before the race even got going. 2 to go this time by for Dylan Lupton. If a caution comes out now, the race will end under yellow. Two to go now for Dylan Lupton, the number 28. We'll see how the gap closes here or grows. It grew there almost to 4 seconds. Ryan Reed has 2 laps to make a pass here on Ross Chastain, or it'll be a 3rd place finish for him. But what a great job Dylan Lupton has done in this race to get the lead, or get the pole, get the lead, and then continue to drive away with, look at that lap, fastest lap of the race. He is obviously not holding anything back. Doing a great job rocketing around this racetrack. Well, he pushed it a little bit too hard coming off of turn 5 right there. Got in the grass, but don't think that'll be a problem for him. Ryan Reed continuing to try to close down to the 4 of Ross Chastain, but it just doesn't look like he can get all the way up to his bumper to try to make a pass on him. Chastain going wide a little bit there, but as they come around the final corner, it'll be the white flag this time by for Dylan Lupton here in Mid-Ohio. There it is, 1 to go for the number 28 machine. Runs almost a second slower than his last lap time was, and about half a second slower than the number 4 car, Ross Chastain. Chastain off track. This might give Ryan Reed a chance to the outside. Can't make it happen. Looks like Reed tried to go to the outside, and Chastain kind of pinched him off the track a little bit there. But maybe that was enough momentum for Reed to maybe make a shot around this racetrack. He's going to have 1 more lap to do it, though. The gap shrunk there, almost back underneath of 2 seconds. But look at how close Ryan Reed is to passing the 4 of Ross Chastain. It doesn't look like it's going to happen. Back up the hill they go for the final time today. Dylan Lupton won the pole for this race. Got out to an early lead of about a second and a half. And has pulled away and dominated ever since. Checkered flag for Dylan Lupton in Mid-Ohio. Second place, Ross Chastain. Third place, Ryan Reed. Fourth, J.J. Yaley. Fifth, David Starr. Man, that was a fast lap by Starr there at the end. Here's a look at your full finishing order as drivers are still crossing the line to finish the race. I believe the back half of the field has not even finished yet. What a great run by Dylan Lupton to pick up the win. Some of the drivers needed good runs. Chase Elliott finishing 14th. Kyle Larson finishing 20th. While those aren't in positions inside the top 10 even, they still needed a good finish to gain them some points, and I believe that they got good enough finishes in today's race to put them back in contention of advancing into the next round. So here's your full finishing order. Now let's go back and try to see what happened on lap 1 of this race, or before the race started. There is an issue with two cars in the back of the field here. Not exactly sure what this is. So an issue between Spencer Gallagher and Ryan Truex obviously did not get lined up properly. But there's the finishing order once again. Congratulations to Dylan Lupton for winning at Mid-Ohio and locking himself into the next round of the championship here with just 2 races remaining till the cut line, well, till the elimination race. Here's your full point standings. We have our 3 winners, J.J. Yaley, Dylan Lupton, and Stephen Leaked. And then going all the way down to 35th, Chase Elliott is where the cut line is. Below the line is Joey Logano, Spencer Gallagher, Ryan Truex, Brandon Jones, and Spencer Boyd. Right on the line, though, we have, I already mentioned Chase Elliott, but then Daniel Suarez, Jeremy Clemens, Kyle Larson, Tyler Reddick, all right there on that cut line, all racing for those final spots in the next round. Well, next week we'll be going to Texas Motor Speedway for the My Bariatric Solutions 75, and then for the elimination race in 2 weeks, it'll be the Fitzgerald Glider Kits 40 from Bristol Motor Speedway. This has been the Verizon Racing League's broadcast of the Bass Pro Shop Series from Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. We'll see you next time.